Hello, this is Paul with Logix Magazine. I'm excited that you're going to be here with me today. Today we're going to talk about buying bootleg software. Now I know everyone has thought about this. Everyone has run into this question, asked themselves this question: should I buy bootleg software? There's 2 points regarding this question. All right, and I want to address both of them. One, how do you learn if you don't get software? Two, who's this hurting if you do use it? All right, so I want to get deep into this question. All right, I really want to help you answer this question. I really want to help you understand this question and discuss what it means as you move forward in this industry. All right, some of this don't make sense yet, but it will as we get deep into it. It's a fair question, though. It is a fair question. So what happens is this: you get into automation, you want to get into it, you want to start learning it, and you quickly find that you need the software. I mean, you need a copy of the software. It becomes a practical question. Now, if you're new and you don't have a mentor to give you guidance, then what do? You go online, right? So let's go online. So what we do here is, now what are we looking at? We're looking at PLC. We end up at eBay. Almost inevitably, you're going to end up at eBay looking at laptops with PLC programming software. Right. So if we look at, and obviously you're going to be looking at something that, to start with, odds are $340 range, something not too expensive. $2,500 probably is out of most people's range. And you're going to look at something, you're going to look at this here, and it's going to say, oh, I get this laptop, right? Oh, it says it's got all the software on it down here, right? So, oh, okay, it's 4 gigabyte hard drive, USB ports. All right, good battery. It's got RSLogix 5000. I'm not sure what this $ is about. Being new, you're not going to know. Okay. What that $ there is to hide it from Rockwell that they're selling some software. All right. So when Rockwell puts in there, hey, if anybody uses the term RSLogix 5000, it shows a link to where that is, and then Rockwell would see that it's being sold on eBay. Then they can, throw a fuss with eBay about this person selling what they would probably legitimately say is bootleg software. Now I'm not gonna pussyfoot around about this. I'm gonna put it out there. This is what we're talking about. This is bootleg software. It's very clear to anybody who's got experience. To a new person, that's what's going on. They put the $ there so that it'll hide it from Rockwell's automatic searches for the phrase RSLogix 5000. But it does have version 20 all the way, see 20. So 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's got RSLogix 500 and RSLogix 5 right here. Also, it's got Studio 5000 RSLogix. Version 21, it's got AutoCAD, Electrical 2010. Wow, okay. So it's got some good basic software. Now, I don't see any factory talk in here. I don't see anything from Siemens. I don't see any WinCC. So this is a basic RSLogix 5500 software. I don't see links in here. So there's some pieces I would say is missing, but it's basic. And you could probably get this, draw some prints, write some programs by a processor offline, and learn PLC programming, basic PLC programming, maybe even intermediate and a little bit advanced with this software. Pretty good. You wouldn't have an HMI development software here, but it'd get you. It's a good start for $340. $340. So I wanted to share this with you because we all know you're going to do this. We all know that it's going to happen. We all know that you're going to face these questions. And what I really want to dig into is, what does it mean? So let's talk about that a little bit. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? You can't learn the software, write programs if you don't have the software, but it's so stinking expensive. The reason it's expensive is it's not software to be sold to individuals. It's software to be sold to businesses, which generally have a higher budget threshold than the individual household. And that's why it's so expensive. So when you look at Rockwell software and you go to buy it, you're looking at thousands of dollars for the low level software. And that's just one version of that software. So, I mean, if you get RSLogix 5000, 500 doesn't come with it. That's a separate price. Factory Talk doesn't come with it. That's a separate price. So my point being, it's become very expensive. And it's because it's to be sold to engineering firms to develop software programs and products for the manufacturing business companies. And it's for companies for their maintenance and or engineering teams. It's not meant to be software like Photoshop or Microsoft Office for the individual consumer. It's expensive to be sold to companies and corporations who are in the professional development field. But that makes it very challenging for someone new who wants to get into the field to get access to the software. Very difficult, right? Now, I guess you could take some college courses and you might get access to the software if they have some sort of arrangement, which most have simulation software like Logix Pro. They'll work with that and they'll do demo with real software, but you won't get access to a full copy of version. If you do, it's like a 90-day version. It's not something you get to keep long term. So it really becomes a real challenge. So how do you get your hands on this software? Well, there are a couple of places. Stephen Gates from myplctraining.com. He's got a great program. It's a good introductory program. And for the cost of the course, you get access to a plethora of software from the Rockwell platform. You'll find right now during the pandemic, anyhow, that the Siemens is selling a 1-year license, I think, for like $40 of their TIA portal. So you can find some arrangements and some deals. But outside of that, actually owning it, right? A software platform that really works, Bootleg might be one of your only options. Now, before I get beat up on this question, I wanted to address this question because it's legit. It's real. We all face it. Every new person faces this exact same question, this exact same dilemma. Where do I get the software? How do I get it? When you go online and you go to look for it, you're going to run into bootleg software. It's inevitable. Now, keep this in mind. I have worked for numerous companies in various positions, and every company, I would say virtually almost every company in the world, I could go to their company, and if I did an audit of their software, everybody has some software that's out of date, that's unlicensed, that they're still using. Because they have nobody who actually pays attention to that. They're not paid to say, hey, make sure that all of our software is licensed and operating legitimately. So, mind you, that's not necessarily that they intend to do that, but intent is not the question here. I don't intend when I leave the house to go through a red light, but it happens. These companies don't intend to use unlicensed software, but it happens. The police officer doesn't care what I intend. The police officer cares about what I did. And if I passed that red light and went through that red light, I get a ticket. Your intention has nothing to do with the law. All right? Now, with that being said, I'm trying to equalize this. You're in a dilemma, and it's a very difficult dilemma. I cannot tell you to go ahead and buy bootleg or illegitimate or unlicensed software. Okay, as an individual business, I cannot support and encourage you to do that. I'm saying it is a question that you're going to run into, and you have to decide if that's something that will work for you. Now, you run a risk by buying software, bootleg software, all right? And I will be the first to tell you I have used bootleg software. And I'm sure if I dug through all of my software, some of my software something's going to be out of license. It's almost impossible to keep track of all the software that I use. So remember, intent's got nothing to do with it. Police officer doesn't care if you intended. He only cares about what you did. With that being said, you're going to run risk when you use software, all right? You're not going to be able to get updates because as soon as you get updates, the software is cracked. Somebody has figured out how to get around the licensing and dates and all kinds of whatever it is that they do. And if you update, you're going to let the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, software developer, they're going to see, oh, you're running an illegal licensed software, and they're going to shut you down. It'll screw up your software. So you run a risk. So if you get a software with a license of version 21 to 28, that's all that's ever going to be able to run is version 21 to 28. You're not going to be able to go 30, 32. You won't be able to add to it because it's going to be kind of a locked in to that software only. You're not going to be able to add versions that are less than 21 to 28 or versions over 21 to 28. So you're kind of locked in, and that's sort of the price you pay when you use bootleg software. Updates, anything that's new, you're just not going to be able to get it. All right, so you're going to be locked into that version, and that's it. Now, for some people who are learning, you don't need 21 to 28. 21 might be enough, just a version to be able to get a processor to be able to do some programming, to get a good, solid foundation. That might be enough for you. Some of the other challenges is software working together sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. Because you're using licensed with unlicensed software, and there can be some configuration issues. In the past when I've done that, I didn't run into that. Rarely did I run into it, but it can happen, and that's very important for you to know. And of course, it's going to be, even bootleg software, to get all the software that you need, it's still going to be expensive. All right, the $340 gives you the bare bones minimum software that you need, all right, to get started. And not even all of it. I mean, bare bones. So as you add more software, even in the bootleg world, it's going to get more expensive in the thousands of dollars. So I recommend that what you do is weigh your options very carefully. Very carefully. What I say is a good place to start is working. I would go to Stephen Gates, myplctraining.com, sign up for his introductory course, get an access to the software, and start working with him. That'd get you a really, really good start with a nominal $30-40, whatever his course is. I don't remember. I've taken it, and I have nothing but good things to say about it as an introductory course. And you'll have access to some software. And that's a good start. Somewhere down the line, save some money and start buying legit software. All right? It's going to cost you thousands one way or another. And if it's going to cost you thousands, you might as well try to go legit, at least for the long term. Okay? Just my opinion. Now, if you end up with a laptop with unlicensed software, hey, learn what you can learn with what you got. That's very important. There is a moral side to this. And the moral side to this is, I guess, two parts. One, the realities of it is there are people on the other side of the software who create and develop the software, and by selling it is how they make their income. So by using bootleg software, we deny them that percentage of the income. Now we could say, well, it's so stinking expensive. How am I supposed to learn it? Well, as I said, there are some legitimate ways to do it. Stephen Gates being one of them. You can on occasion still get a 90-day license for some software. Like I said, Siemens has some low cost options out there right now during the pandemic. You could save a little money every month until you can afford to buy a license at a time. Remember, the big thing to keep in mind here is you're in this for the long haul, the long term, 10, 20, 30 years, right? That's important. That's important. Don't look at the short game. Think about the long term engagement in this career. It becomes very important. So these are some thoughts and some comments kind of off the cuff about this. I had a gentleman I was working with, and this subject came up, and we got into it pretty good about the different, good and bad, right and wrong considerations, so that he could get his head wrapped around what he should do. Now, I cannot tell you what to do. That is not my job. You have to decide what fits you. I know this much. If you're in this business and you are going to want to start learning, software becomes a real consideration early on in your training. So I wanted to kind of discuss it. I know it's not exactly what you want to hear. Likely, you probably want me to say, go ahead, take the software, learn everything you can while you can with what you got. And I do truly believe that, by the way. I really do. But you got to remember, you're in this for the long haul. And owning your own legitimate license for the platform that you expect to work on, it's a really good thing. It's a great thing. You do feed the industry that is feeding you. I mean, with the software, you're able to feed your family. And you can get legitimate support with that software when you buy it legitimately. So there's some options out there for that. And of course, you have myplctraining.com. Stephen Gates, great resource because he has a training course in the software. So I would say start with that. Get extra software. Make sure that this is a path you want to go down. Get a little money, put it in an envelope, and start saving your money for that legitimate license, those licenses. And I think that's probably a very good start. If you're in the Siemens world, get yourself a copy of the Siemens licensing. They have a new pricing program right now for TIA Portal. I would say look into that. In the meantime, most important thing you can do is keep programming, my friends. So if this is the first time you're here, you find these conversations about growing your automation career helpful, or you have any suggestions, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have questions, put them down below. I'd love to answer them. And hit that bell. That way you're notified every time we put out a video. We're going to try and put out a couple of videos every week to keep you informed. All right? So until next time, this is Paul with Logics Magazine. Keep programming, my friends.